Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sample serve.
Okay. All right, first of all, my name is Russell Schiller. I'm with SampleServe.com. We have Eric Bergsma, my partner back there. It's his lovely wife. And one of my employees right here, Jacob, right there. And then we got Renee over here. She's a subcontractor programmer for us, but she works with us all the time. We consider her part of SampleServe. So, so what we do is data management and data automation and reporting. I'm going to go really fast because there's a lot to cover here. And so a little background, okay? So what we do is environmental sampling, and then we manage that data that we collect. Spills happen, okay? Tanks leak, they contaminate the groundwater. And so what we do and other companies do is we don't actually go out and do the wells, but other companies put wells in, monitoring wells in. So they go down and determine the horizontal and vertical extent of contamination. And we go out and sample, collect a bunch of data. And the way the data is typically collected is it is written down in little yellow books like this. Labels are filled out by hand, and instructions to the laboratory, typically called the chain of custody, are filled out by hand. That information is sent to the samples, and the information sent to the lab. They enter it manually. They can sometimes print out, they get paper copies of your reports once they've run the samples, but typically they'll email you an Excel file. Then that Excel file goes to the project manager, and it goes to the AutoCAD guy, back and forth, and they make different maps, graphics, tables, everything. So it's that's kind of how it's done, like currently by 99% of the companies out there right now. So we developed the software, and our software basically lets the project manager, the person who's going to decide how to manage this site of contamination, it lets them communicate with the sampling technician, lets them communicate with the laboratory all simultaneously. There's communication back and forth, the regulatory agencies, and also the client. So what our software does, it makes it easier, makes life easier, right? That's what software is all about. So we can develop a detailed scope of work. Everyone knows what's going on, so that everyone's on the same page. Our software pre-prints all those labels I just showed you out. They're typically written out by hand. We can pre-print them, so all they have to do is write their name, date, and time. The instructions to the laboratory are all pre-printed. Again, all they have to do is write their name, date, and time. And then we create individual data forms that tells the field technician exactly what's got to happen at the site that they're going to be sampled, right, Jacob? He's filled out many of these things. And then once all that data has been collected, our software will graph it, put it in a table, do all kinds of different things. We're still coming up with new ways to look at graphs. We call them infographics. We can actually plot the data on a map and color code it to whether it's above or below criteria for a specific contaminant at a specific location. Very powerful tool right there. We also can use the field data we collect and other information to determine which way groundwater is flowing. Our software does this in about just a couple of seconds. This is typically done manually or using some other, pre-packaged software. It takes hours of input. So we save our clients a ton of money being able to do this in a matter of seconds. This is what's called an isochemical contour. We take that data and kind of show you where the hot spot is. And then we can also plot our data on a cross section so you can see how deep the contamination goes. So all this is done in just a matter of seconds. We can do tables showing you where just the raw data and show you where the exceedances are. And again, the software just color codes everything automatically. So what's next? A mobile app. We want to develop a mobile app. Right now our software is web-based. And so when we develop those instructions, that work scope, we're going to be able to send the work scope right to the field tech. They can enter the data right there. And we want to be able to pre-print our labels in the field using barcodes so that when those samples go to the lab, along with an electronic chain of custody, that laboratory instructions, they can actually just scan those bottles in like you're checking out at a grocery store with the scanner. So when the bottles come in, and then that allows them to the lab to upload the data automatically. They don't have to type it in manually. whenever there is a complaint about handwriting or something like that on the lab chain of custody, they're usually complaining about me because my handwriting is horrible. And then the app would also have a GPS and a camera, incorporated into it, so you can actually document and record data right there. So then everything is paperless. That's the other thing. How am I doing on time?
Just hit 5 minutes.
Oh, what's next? We're doing something called calculating hydraulic connectivity, which I'm not going to go into, but I can tell you it's pretty cool. We can also link to other devices. That's what we want our app to do, is be able to link to other devices. These are water quality meters. And then who wants our product? Anyone in the environmental industry, consulting engineers, testing labs, oils. One of the things about our industry that I like is that it's required by law. So it's kind of like, maybe we'll do it or maybe we don't. No, you got to do it. And so in a down economy, we actually do better. And then our market strategy is to kind of gear towards, instead of us marketing directly to everybody who's got a site of contamination, we want to market to the laboratories. And I won't go into a lot of detail there, but it's a big industry. We've got a very unique product. The way we're going to make money doing this is charge like per sample. Because that's been my hardest problem, is like, how do we charge for this? And we have some sites that are just small little gas stations, and then you got sites where they got 400 monitoring wells, and we would save them tens of thousands of dollars per event. So it's kind of like, we got to scale this somehow. So like per sample collected that goes through our system, that's how we're thinking about charging. And then when we charge the labs, it'll actually be like a pass-through for them almost, because we save them a ton of money on data entry. They spend about 3 to 10% of their labor costs on data entry, so we can save them that cost. Who's our competition? It's the status quo is really our competition. The way people are doing it now, that's who we compete with. There's some other companies that are doing little pieces of what we're doing, but not the entire package like we're doing. So, and there's some data entry form or software that you can use like Canvas. I don't know if you ever heard of it. So why am I here? Because I like technology, and so that's why I'm here. But why I'm standing up in front of you telling you about this is we're looking for investors, we're looking for partners, programmers, advice and assistance, and if you don't have any of that, you can pray for us. So,
can always use that.
all right. Okay. So I know I was like a minute over, 2 minutes over.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Who's counting?
All right. Does anyone have any questions?
Go ahead.
Have you started marketing this in its infancy, or are you waiting until it's complete in its grandeur?
Well, no, we have a web-based software right now. All those graphics I showed you, it's functioning. We've been operating for 5 years.
Okay.
What we're looking to do now is develop an app, and the app is not, it's a really complicated app. So we just want to start off small. We want to get that like minimum viable product, get it out there, and start getting people to use it. There's I get a lot of calls now where people are going, hey, do you guys got an app for collecting data? So there's a big demand, just with everything turned into apps, that people are starting to go, hey, we could probably do this with an app. So
let me ask that another way. To me, it seems a lot of this has to do with having access in the field. So are they out there with tablet and using the software?
We are out there. You can ask the guy right next to you. We were out there with paper, and then we bring that paper back to the field and type it in now.
Okay, so it's like half of it is
right.
developed, and this is part 2 now. That's
correct.
Really going to allow them to be more
exactly the way it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're also changing our marketing strategy. Instead of us going out to each individual contaminated site owner and marketing to them, we're marketing to the lab. So if you look, or even the engineering consulting companies, like in Michigan, there's probably 300 different engineering consulting companies, but there's maybe 12, 14 laboratories that service 300 companies. So, we're changing the channel that we market in by going to the labs and then having them kind of resell our product.
Sure.
So,
wonderful.
Go ahead.
So your present business is you're working for consulting engineers who set up a sampling process. You go out and actually do it.
Correct.
And provide the data. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Well, probably half our clients are consulting engineering companies and the other half are oil companies or people that own the contamination. One of our clients is, part of GM, the part that went bankrupt, They sold off a bunch of their properties or they put it in a trust fund, so that's one of our clients. And they've got some large sites that, you need a data management package in order to handle it, and we do a great job doing it, so. Any other questions?
Right. What technology stack are you using right now?
The software is written in 2 different languages, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but we're using PHP, a MySQL database, and then the contouring stuff, the kind of the really hardcore programming, the graphics you see, is done in Python.
Okay.
So,
Russell? What is your specific need or ask? How much money do you need to develop the next phase?
if somebody wants to know those numbers, I'll be happy to talk about specifics later.
How
But
much
it's
you got?
it's not pocket change.
Very good.
So, and we're offering a piece of the pie too, so in exchange. Anybody else?
Okay, fantastic. Thank
All
you,
right.
Russell.